Marquez believes that he was robbed. And after watching the fight again, I agree. I think Marquez was robbed. He was robbed of his sanity. Because if he seriously thinks that he did not get a fair shake from the judges against Timothy Bradley, then there is something wrong with Marquez's brain. This guy has been robbed of his sanity, and he's robbing himself of his own dignity. If Marquez had come out and said, the fight was close, but I thought I edged it, I could accept that. Because sometimes when you're in the ring, you don't really have an accurate perception of what's going on. When you're in the heat of the battle, it's not really about how many punches you or your opponent have landed. Sometimes it's hard to perceive that in a competitive fight. It's more about how you feel. If you feel like you're the boss in the ring, inside your own mind. So fighters' perception of who's winning a particular fight can be a little bit skewed. And it's not until they go watch the fight back later on that they'll realize, okay, maybe I did lose. Or maybe I did win. But for Marquez to come out and say that he was robbed, that's flat out ridiculous. This fight was not a robbery. Me personally, as I said in my post-fight video, I do think, watching the fight the first time round, that it was closer than a lot of people had it. I did not see this as a runaway victory for Bradley. I thought the fight was pretty close. And I'm not really, against the idea that you could make a case for Marquez winning the fight. Some people did have Marquez winning, not that many, but there was some people out there who thought he could have gone either way, or maybe Marquez could have took it by a point. That to me is not completely ridiculous, because there was a lot of close rounds where it really depended on what you liked in terms of what was going on in the ring, whether you liked Bradley's activity or Marquez's more powerful shots. So it depended on what you liked, but most people came to the conclusion that Bradley actually did win this fight. Even a lot of Mexican fans, I've seen Mexican people commenting on my post-fight video, and they were saying, you know what, I got to be real, Bradley won the fight. So, Harold Lederman, HBO, the same people who had Bradley losing against Pacquiao had Bradley winning against Marquez. So Marquez needs to just stop crying like a baby. He's got a history of doing this. Right? He's got a history of doing this. He needs to stop crying like a baby and accept defeat. Yes, in the third Pacquiao fight, I think he had reason to be a bit upset. But for the most part, the guy cries like a baby. And, this time it's sour grapes, This is probably the worst case of sour grapes since Nonito Donaire lost to Rigondeaux. Rigondeaux beat Donaire fair and square, and Donaire was crying like a baby after the fight. Come on, man. Just accept defeat. Yeah, and what makes it worse about the Marquez situation is his trainer Nacho Berestein is doing the same thing. Both of them are bitching like a couple of little girls, man. Yes, it was, in my opinion, a close fight. But to say they got robbed, come on, man. That's some straight up BS. Leave it out, man. Leave it out. And as far as where can Marquez go from here, I think there's just a Pacquiao. Fifth fight there with Pacquiao. I mean, I know he's been turning his back on Pacquiao ever since he knocked him out and saying, I don't want a fifth fight, whatever. The money is gonna be so much, and I know Pacquiao definitely wants to fight, and the money is gonna be so good. It's hard for me to imagine, even though he lost the Bradley fight. I think if he beat Bradley, there'd definitely be a fifth Pacquiao fight. But even now, I think it's gonna be up to Pacquiao. If Pacquiao beats Rios, I know that the Marquez knockout defeat is burning him inside. And I know he wants to avenge that, maybe even more than the Bradley thing, because inside Pacquiao feels like he beat Bradley anyway. I don't think, and he feels like most of the fans thought he beat Bradley anyway. So I don't think there's that burning desire inside him to get in there with Bradley as much as there is to get in with Marquez and avenge that knockout defeat. So I think Pacquiao will be very interested in pursuing a fifth fight with Marquez if he gets past Brandon Rios. You know, and I think it's going to be difficult for Marquez to turn down that kind of money. So we'll see how it goes, man. But yeah, Marquez, stop bitching, stop crying. Just accept defeat. You did get beat. Maybe the fight was close, but it definitely wasn't a robbery. So it is what it is. Anyway, hit me up in the comments. This is Hat Man. I'm out.